Yep.
So Neil, you're celebrating 125 years in business?
Yes, 125 years this year of Sandhurst Trustees. Started as Sandhurst and Northern Districts Agency Companies Executors Limited in 1888, and we had a special Act of Parliament which actually allowed us to start in those days. So it wasn't just a matter of putting a shingle out the front, you had to apply to Parliament to become a trustee company. The main reason why we started in Sandhurst Town, as it was known then, is that Ballarat had one, competition even back then, but I suppose the good thing is we're still going today. Originally when it was built, the main central part was used for the post office, and then they realised that they'd left the telegraphic manager up at the railway station, so they built a part on the side for him, and then the post office master himself didn't have an office, so they built the other part, and that's why when you're looking at the front of the building there's a two-storey section right at the front and then two little parts off to the side. So they realised straight away that they needed to expand to accommodate all those people in Sandhurst Town as it was known then. The other things that we can have a look at as we go around, as I say, we've got this big portrait here of the early pioneers of Bendigo, and Sir George Lansell in the centre there, the owner of what was Fortuna, which has been in the paper of recent times. We've got a marble top desk which we use for serving off, and we've had that for a number of years. It's not an original, but it's been here for a number of years. Our boardroom table, which is capable of sitting around 20 around for a meal, which we do a couple of times a year, also reduces down to a very small table. And in this boardroom we did hold our shareholders meetings before we joined in with the bank, which was a unique experience to have all your shareholders just in your boardroom, so we didn't have too many in those days. We've got a cup there called a mailing cup, and that's to do with an estate that we've got. It's been around since 1908 or something like that, 1910. Very famous swimming cup, that one, given out as a trophy. We'll see a doorway that's been turned into a bookcase, and just to make it look a bit different rather than losing its historic feature of the surround around the door. We'll also see a company seal which we've used since we started work, so still used today every week. No document signed without it going through that, and our directors still have to sign in accordance with the company and the requirements thereof. So we've got to maintain that in a handwritten register. It's not just a computerised image of it or anything, it's all handwritten, all that stuff still. Out the front we'll see our two front counters, and about 130 years difference between the two, but they look pretty well the same, all made in Bendigo, even that far apart, using the same equipment, and we thank Gil Martins for that because they've still got the same equipment up there to use. We will see a clock from 1830. Again, we weren't that old, so we haven't had it all that long in terms. We got it in about 1950, late 1950s, but a unique thing that still keeps going well today. Chimes on the hour. And we'll also see some gold scales which we didn't have originally. They came from the National Bank, but we've only got a little speck of gold. We can't afford a big piece, but we can weigh a big piece if we have to, if somebody finds one, so please bring them in if the customers see any. We'll go for a general look around at all our directors' photos that we've ever had in the company, the four that started the company, and some old desks, and we'll even give the clock a wind. I think we'll get through that.
And it's rare to see a building that's in such, I suppose, original condition with such original fittings and that sort of thing. Yeah,
it's a tribute back to our directors and staff, I suppose, that we didn't pull it out and do something different with it in the 50s and 60s when Laminex was around. We've retained the woodwork, and as we have a bit of a look around, we'll see some woodwork done in the 1908s or so.